Hello everyone, we are Group 1. When we talk about corruption, we as ordinary people with a conscience naturally hate and despise it. But why can corruption, which everyone knows is wrong, not be eliminated? Today, we will discuss corruption and anti-corruption with an example from China in the 1980s. Our video consists of 4 parts: introduction, background information, discussion, and references. When we talk about every great reform, as later generations, we should have a sense of historical warmth and respect to analyze it. Dialectic ally. Reformers cannot transcend the historical limitations of the environment in which they live, nor can they completely deny it because of a few mistakes, nor can they turn a blind eye to the problem. Corruption is born from the chaos of the system and the complexity of people's hearts for the existing problems. We should analyze it and change it. Only by facing it squarely is it the only way to solve it. After the 11th plenary session of the 13th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China in 1978, the second-generation leadership group with Deng Xiaoping as the core began the reform and opening up. Under the call of the story of spring, it shifted from planned economy to market economy. The dual-track system during reform and opening up period led to low prices for goods in the plan and high prices for goods in the market economy. Children of officials take advantage of their power to sell the low-priced materials in the plan at a high price on the market and make profits.
The dual-track system and the root cause of corruption in the 1980s. What we are focusing on is the specific period from 1978 to 1989. This is the deep water zone where China is leaving behind its highly centralized planned economic system and beginning its transition to a market economy. During the 10 years of this institutional reform, both old and new systems coexisted, which gave rise to significant conflicts and provided opportunities for the growth of corruption. Before 1978, China had a purely planned economy where resources were uniformly allocated by the state and prices were fixed. In 1978, the reform was initiated and enterprises began to gain more autonomy. Local finances and township enterprises also emerged, which stimulated local enthusiasm and laid the foundation for future markety Zat-ion. By 1985, local governments began to implement the differential budgeting fiscal system, which further enhanced the power of local economies, but also left room for local governments to engage in rent-seeking activities. The most direct and crucial system that led to corruption in the officialdom was the dual pricing system, implemented in 1984. This core system implies that in the key sectors of the national economy, particularly in commodities that are in short supply, such as steel, coal, and oil, there exist 2 different prices. 1. The extremely low planned price is used for the allocation of directive plans in response to fluctuations in supply and demand. The market-regulated price, which is significantly higher than the planned price, that is, a price that is fully or partially liberalized. In the extremely resource-poor 1980s, the difference between these 2 prices, that is, the price gap, was an easily accessible source of huge profits. The dual-track system unprecedentedly linked power and wealth. Officials, or their close relatives, a portion of the officials holding the power to allocate resources could obtain scarce goods at the planned low price. They would then simply resell them at the high market price, easily pocketing the huge profit difference. This speculative trading, known as official speculation, was strongly detested by the public and seriously undermined the credibility of the reform. This power-money collusion under the dual-track system reached a concentrated eruption during the 1989 political turmoil, where public demands centered on down with official profiteering and fight corruption. Following these events, the country began to address these conflicts. Subsequent institutional adjustments, like the emergence of quitting the system to go into business in 1990 and in 90, and the introduction of the tax sharing system, an SOE reform in 1993, were attempts to eliminate the systemic soil for corruption left by the dual-track system.
China's dual-track system means the government kept both plan and market price during the early reform period. It helped the economy grow, but it also made corruption more likely. First, a large price gap between the two systems gave people with power a chance to profit, buying cheap at the state price and selling high in the market. Second, too much power and weak supervision let some officials use their positions for personal gain. Since laws and monitoring were still developing, third, the rules were unclear and information wasn't open. People with inside connection could take advantage of the confusion. Finally, old interest groups from the plan system tried to protect their benefits and worked with business people, making corruption worse. This corruption also affected ordinary people. First, it created unfair opportunities. Those with power or connections gained more chance, while others were left behind. Second, it raised living costs, as goods as housing became much more expensive under market price. Third, it wound the wealth gap, because those controlling resources got richer while most workers' income grew slowly. And fourth, it weakened social trust and values. Many people started to believe that relationship mattered more than effort or fairness.
We were looking at here isn't just a list of past challenges. It's a snapshot of an economic in transition, where growing pains were inevitable but far from unsolvable. The tensions from the dual-track system hit close to home. When prices spiked, it hasn't just a number on a chart, but families stretching but guys teeter. When trust in fairness worked, it wasn't just about rules, but whether everyone had a shot at opportunity. These weren't small hurdles. They were tests of how the economy could adapt. And adapt it did. Shifting to market-driven models wasn't just flipping a switch. It was about letting innovation and fairness lead the way. Refining how we steer the economy, not with rigid controls but with tools that respond to real needs, made growth more steady. Strengthening laws, it wasn't just about punishment, it was about rebuilding that crucial trust, ensuring the system worked for everyone, not just a few. In the end, this story isn't just about fixing problems. It's about how facing hard truths about inflection, about fairness, about order, and choosing blood. People-focused solutions is what turns challenges into stepping stones for progress.
About the China learned from the corruption in 1980s. This happened during the dual-track system when China was moving from a planned economy to a market one. The dual-track system allowed goods to be sold at two prices, one set by state and one by the market. The big price gap gave some officials a chance to make unfair money, so corruption and rethinking spread very fast. Later, the government saw that only full market reform could fix it. From this experience, China learned some lessons. First, how reforms are dangerous. Two systems can cause corruption. Second, the clear rules and transparency are very important. Third, we need accountability so that officials face real punishment. Research shows that corruption was highest in the mid-1980s. People inside the system got more benefits than others. Later reforms on pest control and supervision helped reduce corruption. This shows that economic Reform alone is not enough. Laws and measures are also needed. This case gave us important message. Economic growth must come with fairness and honesty. Building clean institutions is as important as building the economic. Education and openness can help people say no to corruption. So to conclude, the dual-track system taught China that reforms must be fair, clear, and well managed. Corruption is not only about money, it's also about values and systems. Today's anti-corruption efforts are building on these lessons from the past. Thank you.